Hello and welcome to A Cup of Poetry. This week, poet Alison Deming joins us from her home in Arizona to read from and discuss her new collection, Rope. Deming is a professor of creative writing at the University of Arizona.
I am Alison Deming, and this is my fourth book of poems. I've been writing probably since I was a child. I grew up in a family with a lot of writers, and it just seemed like a logical thing to do, to write. And I think literature saved me as a child by showing me that the inner life was real and that emotions were real. Rope follows some of the questions about how the human world fits into the larger natural order. Rope is something that's very strong, that's made from something that is not strong at all. Extremely tiny little fibers woven together make something that can do a lot of work and hold things together. And I think that really is what poetry does too. You take very frail little strands of language and thought and music and you twist them together into something which feels like a poem. The place of poetry. Some people write poems to leave in a capsule underground so that people of the future will know who they were. Some people send poems into space so that lives we haven't imagined will know we were real. Some people sit around a campfire and say poems about horses and cattle. Some people stand in a rainforest, turn their backs to the fire, and say poems to the night. Most people sing poems to their children. Most people sing poems to their gods. People who have no gods write poems as if words were their gods. People place poems in tombs and envelopes, under pillows and rocks, over arches and ceilings in great monumental halls. People fold poems and save them in their pockets and wallets. People write poems in gold leaf, squid ink, or blood, then hang them in frames. People write poems when they fall in and out of love. Some people make a contest of shouting their poems in bars. People make poems that boast. People make poems that confess. People abandon and reclaim poems, adore and revile poems, aspire to and rebel against poems. People steal poems, cut them up, and make them into other poems. One person wrote poem after poem about lunch and Rachmaninoff's birthday. Some people write poems that map the torment of losing your story, your nation, or your way. Some people bury their dead with poems. Some people marry their beloved with poems. One person wrote poems in prison on a bar of soap, using her fingernail for a pen. People write poems for a blessing. People write poems for a curse. People use poems to jump rope and sell soap, to grieve a war, or to praise a jar. Some people use poems as if they were shovels, to turn the ground for planting.
Check back next week for another cup of poetry.